The fantasy football playoffs are finally here, and boy, does it feel good.
Let's go.
We are going to give you some start sits for the first half of the matchups in Week 14. No time to waste, so let's just get straight to it.
Welcome to the FantasyLand Football Podcast.
All right. Okay, people.
Playoffs.
Playoffs? Hey, you know what? Before we get started into any playoff talk, welcome into the show. My name is Zach. This is Daniel Badaki. It is Wednesday, the 9th of December.
It is Wednesday, my dudes.
And we have got a beautiful show for you today. Lots of helpful information. By the way, I just wanted to let you guys know, we did not do a waiver show yesterday, as we said we would, but we want to explain why. And to be honest, we just really didn't want to waste your time. I know that sounds maybe strange.
Yeah.
But at this point of the year, when you're in the playoffs, I'm sorry, but we're not going to tell you to pick up guys like Kiki QT because we're not going to confidently tell you to start them.
Exactly.
We're not going to tell you to pick up a guy like Tyler Johnson from the Jets because, again, we're not going to tell you to confidently start them in the playoffs.
That's
so
right.
We looked at a waiver show and we thought, is this really going to be helpful for people to listen to? Probably not, right? I mean,
yeah, I think that's why we had if you looked on our Instagram, we had our quarterback and defensive streams, essentially a week early for you guys. So you guys can go out and get all those guys for your team.
Yeah.
I hope that
we're going to post
helpful.
We're going to post that today as well for week 14 for this week. So you can see it again. But at this point of the year, it's all about the playoffs.
Playoffs? Don't talk about it. Playoffs? You kidding me? Playoffs?
It is the only thing you need to focus on at this point. So just wanted to explain to you why we didn't do that waiver show, and you probably understand after you've heard that. But we got a great show for you today, Badaki. Hey,
that's right. I'm pumped.
Did you make the playoffs, by the way, in all your leagues?
I made it in one of my leagues, which is probably the most important league, and that's the podcast league. Let's be honest.
Oh, okay.
Everything else is irrelevant besides this league.
Yeah, well, I mean, I'm not gonna say too much. I made my playoffs in every league I'm in this year. So just want to say,
I mean, congrats.
What's up? How you doing? How you feeling? What's up? I'm feeling good. And I got a bye week as well in one of those.
Yeah.
So
same.
It always feels good to have a bye week. Always get that extra security.
Yeah,
You've got this mental problem though with the it's mental for you. You don't have mental problems, sorry. But you've got a problem where you're like, "Oh, I don't like the bye week," but this is nothing like the real football playoffs.
Nah.
The real NFL playoffs. You don't have to worry about having a bye week.
My
Your players aren't going to get out of sync.
Yeah, my thought process there is my team has a really, really good matchup week 14. My whole team in general. So they're going to perform really well. I'm going to see that on paper. And then next week I'm going to be like, I'm going to expect those points. And that's mental for me. So, I'm going to see it and then I'm going to be like, "Oh, why couldn't they do what they did last week?" But yeah,
the reality is you have the best matchups ever this week because you don't need to worry. You already got the dub secured. So
yeah.
Anyway, I don't know if anyone else is mental, like it's mental for you with the bye weeks, but all right, let's talk about some news.
What is going on here?
All right, need to know news. What is going on around the National Football League? Straight facts, no goss, only the things you need to know, Badaki.
Yeah.
So no bye weeks, which is great.
Mm-hmm.
Those are all done and dusted.
Correct. Look, I think the biggest news of the day, the week is going to be, and what everyone's going to be talking about is Jalen Hurts. He's starting over Carson Wentz this week against the... Oh, actually, who did they play?
Saints.
They play the Saints. So there you go. Jalen Hurts is starting against the Saints. And my question is he better?
I don't know. I really don't know, but I'm excited to see the answer to that.
Yeah,
I guess
the glimpses that we've seen, the glimpses that we've seen in college and all this stuff. Is he a franchise quarterback? Is he somebody that could lead these Eagles to multiple wins? Like the division is still wide open. They can technically still make the playoffs.
Yeah, technically. I think the only way we're going to find the answer to that is if they actually let Jalen Hurts play like Jalen Hurts.
Right.
So don't constrict him to a certain type of offense. Look at what worked for him and then, see if that's going to work for them. Regardless, it looks like they just want to see if they can win a game. Yeah. And at the end of the day,
Hello, you play to win the game.
But James Conner looks like he's going to be back this Sunday from that COVID list. Should be good to go. And George Kittle, I'm not so sure on this, but there are reports that he could be back week 16.
Yeah.
Right?
I personally think that if he does come back, it's purely because they're trying to make the playoffs. Okay, he's going to play because they're going to need him. They're going to need him to win. And if obviously they lost last night against the Bills, but the division is still open because the Seahawks lost.
They do have technically the easiest remaining schedule in the NFC West.
Yeah,
I still don't think they're going to make the playoffs.
We'll see. They can sneak into the wild card, whatever the case. I'm not sure. I need to check, see how.
But from a fantasy perspective, Badaki, if you can put George Kittle on your IR spot, then do it.
Yes,
because if he plays in week 16, don't question it. He's definitely your best option unless you have Travis Kelce or Darren Waller.
And I think that's why this is huge. If you're in the final, if you get to the finals week 16, and George Kittle's confirmed back, you're pumped.
Yep. Something to keep in mind. All right, guys, the best way to keep up with all things fantasy football is to follow us on all of our social media accounts. Instagram is at FantasyLand Football. Twitter is at FantasyLand_FB. You can watch the podcast on YouTube. Turn on the notifications if you'd like to. Just search Fantasyland Football. You can find us on TikTok, Fantasyland Football. And you can listen to the podcast on any podcast platform in the world. But quickly, before we get into the start sits for the first half of the games, Badaki, we want to quickly tell you guys about RSA.
Yeah.
You probably know this by now, but when we do our giveaways, RSA is our sponsor. So we believe they are the go-to for all things sports memorabilia. These guys work directly with the athletes to make deals in bulk so you can always get the best deal in the industry. They are the largest JSA authenticated autograph distributor and promise a money-back guarantee on all products. So if you're looking for any sort of signed jerseys, any sort of signed sports memorabilia, head to shoprsa.com for pretty much anything you're looking for in that area, right?
Absolutely. RSA is sick. Point blank period. Yeah. They have a lot of stuff.
All right, let's actually talk what we're here to talk about, and that is obviously some fantasy football playoff matchups, some start sits. Let's get straight to it.
Excuse me, can I touch you for a minute? Excuse me, can I touch you for a minute?
All right, we are going to cover the AM games.
Yeah.
The early games. Actually, it depends on where you live because it's AM for Pacific Standard Time, but we're going to cover the first slate of games, Thursday Night Football, and then all the games up until the afternoon on today's show. And then tomorrow, we're going to cover the rest of the games, the afternoon games and night games, and Monday Night Football for you. So you're going to be able to hear about every matchup this week from us. We're going to make all these hard decisions with you and tell you who we're comfortable starting, who we're not. And it's a crucial week because it's win or go home now.
Absolutely.
It is genuinely win or go home. So, but Aki, start us off with our first matchup of the week.
Yeah, 6-6 Patriots at the 8-4 Rams. 6-6, 500. The Patriots are coming back right now. I mean, it's Bill Belichick. He is coming. He is doing something with this team. And wow, 45-0 against the Chargers last week.
You know what's crazy is, and just randomly throw this out there, this whole Bill Belichick Tom Brady rivalry. If the Patriots win this week and the Bucs lose, they will have the same record.
Mm-hmm.
Just wanted to throw that out there.
Yeah, I think it's crazy. And if they win this week, mind you, it's Thursday Night Football, It's a short week. So I think this is going to be really interesting. But look, Patriots side of the ball, before we get started, we're talking about playoffs, okay? We're going to be telling you people that you should be starting point blank, period. And people that maybe you really shouldn't start during the playoffs now because you're trying to win, point blank. That's it. I can't really say it any better. You're trying to win. So Patriots side of the ball, James White, Damian Harris. You know, Damian Harris had an average game. He had 10 points, and James White was nowhere to be seen. But, you know, that has to do with the game plan. They were up by a lot, okay? And which is surprising because you think they're up by a lot, they're going to run the ball. And that wasn't really the case. You know, James White didn't see much of the field. I think he had 3 carries, maybe 3 targets. I'm not sure if he is a must start in my opinion. Yeah, I agree. Either of these guys, Damian Harris or James White, are must starts in my opinion.
You don't know if they are.
I have him, and I'm telling you that I'm not starting them. Period.
Okay.
In this matchup,
I get where you're coming from. I mean, James White, even though the Patriots, I was trying to catch my thoughts there. Even though the Patriots were up in this game, you would have still thought the volume would have potentially been there for James White.
Exactly.
But guys, 1 yard on 3 receptions. That's it.
It wasn't there.
That's all there was only 3 receptions. That's all that he got. And I think at this point, you absolutely cannot be betting your fantasy playoffs on an unknown. And that's really what James White is.
Yeah.
And I agree with you. Both of these guys, I don't think you can confidently start them. If you had to choose one, maybe Damian Harris, because he's still got all the touches. But you're not starting him with confidence, are you?
No, you're not starting him with confidence, especially the Rams. They give the 6th fewest points to running back this week, or so far in the season. And there's really no one else on this team that I can tell you to start with confidence. You're not starting Cam. You're not starting any of these receivers. I mean, a tight end on this team is non-existent. So, honestly, if there's any Patriots players, I'm not starting unless it's absolutely desperation and maybe somebody's hurt or whatever the case may be. But like if you have an Antonio Gibson and Damian Harris is your backup and Antonio Gibson is unsure of next week, who are you starting?
Yeah. Out of these 2, do you mean? I have to choose one?
Yeah, you have to choose one.
You're
in this scenario.
Damian Harris, for sure. I just because of the volume. We always follow volume here. Yeah. So if I had to choose one, it would be Damian Harris, but I don't love it, do I?
Right. Rams side of the ball, Cooper Kupp, Roberto Woods, and Jared Goff. Point blank period.
Could you say that again?
Cooper Kupp and Roberto Woods. Roberto Woods. You already know what it is. Look, these are the guys that you're starting on this team. They're the most consistent guys on the team. They've kind of been picking it up towards the second half of the year. They've been more consistent in points and receptions. And Jared Goff, he's playing his best right now, in my opinion.
Yep.
There's no question that you're starting these guys on Thursday night. But I think the big question is for everyone is this backfield. Once again, this Russian roulette backfield. Cam Akers getting the work. It's the hot hand right now. He's doing his thing. 16 fantasy points he had last week. Can he do it again?
Yeah, I mean, it's not really the matchup you are thinking. Yes, it's a smash matchup. Cam Akers has been doing great. Now I'm gonna just smash start him. No. It's not one of those matchups. It's not the Jets. It's the Patriots, and they are a great defense because of the coach they have. I don't think you can start him with confidence, but some people might have to. But I don't really want to start him with confidence. I still don't believe that there is a solid guy here. I still think it's a hot hand approach, like you've talked about.
Yeah.
I'm not starting anyone with confidence in this backfield, but I could be wrong.
Yeah, I'm not technically excited. I'm not wanting to do this. I'm not starting Darrell Henderson, Cam Akers, Malcolm Brown. Obviously, they both had good games last week, but I'm not excited. And then also, I know Tyler Higbee had a good game, but I'm not excited to start him either. think he had
Just
about 13 fantasy points or 12 fantasy points, but that was his first good game in a long time. So if you do have him, or if he's on the waiver wires, don't pick him up. Don't start him.
Mm-hmm.
Just don't.
Last thing I want to say quickly about Cam Akers is he did pop up on the injury report 2 days ago. We haven't found out much on it yet with that shoulder injury, I believe it was. So shoulder's a big deal for a running back, but I don't think I'm starting these guys with confidence.
Yeah.
All right. Next matchup, the 8-4 Titans at the 1-11 Jaguars. Titans, it's pretty easy. And there's a lot of gold here because of the matchup.
Yeah.
Obviously, you're starting Derrick Henry. Don't question it. Look, last week was bad. We have told you all year long, these are the type of games you might get with Derrick Henry because he's not involved in the passing game. And if the Titans get down, they're not going to use him all that much. Or he's just not going to be given the opportunity, but they are playing the Jaguars this week. So it's a smash start. You have to start him.
Yeah.
Could easily finish as the best running back on the week. Same with A.J. Brown. You have to start A.J. Brown. And I believe Ryan Tannehill is a great start this week against the Jags. We talked about this on our Instagram, on our reels, about how much we love Ryan Tannehill in the playoffs. And this is the first week of those matches where we think absolutely you can start Ryan Tannehill as a streaming option, right?
Yeah, I believe so. This is a smash start. This is, I don't know a better way to say it. You have to start him. This is probably the number one streaming option for this week.
Yeah, for sure. And the guys that you probably want to hear about, maybe you're a little bit more uncertain of, would be a Corey Davis and a Jonnu Smith. Look, Corey Davis had a career day, right?
Yeah.
Had his best day ever as a pro. But I can't promise you that that's going to happen again.
Yeah.
What I can tell you is it's a great matchup. It's a great opportunity to potentially start a guy like Corey Davis. I am not against starting Corey Davis in a flex if you need him. He's a desperation play, but don't expect more than 10 points. So don't start him and think he's going to have another 30-point game. You need to be okay strategically looking at your team, thinking, if I get 10 points out of this guy, will I be okay? In that scenario, you can start Corey Davis. But don't start him to bet your week on.
Let me ask you a question. Corey Davis or Tyler Boyd?
Corey Davis for me.
Corey Davis or CeeDee Lamb?
That's a little bit harder. Probably Corey Davis, though.
Corey Davis? Okay.
Because of the matchup. And by the way, something we didn't talk about on news because it's not so significant, but it probably matters here. Adam Humphries is out for a while.
Right.
So that helps Corey Davis's opportunities. And Jonnu Smith has been injured. Oh, my goodness. What a change in events.
It's a full-on, we need the...
Yeah,
Johnny one of those.
Yeah, honestly. One of those animated ones.
Yeah.
It's not been good, to say the least. I think fantasy managers, if they were to talk about Jonnu Smith...
His hair, whack. His gear, whack. The way that he talks, whack. The way that he doesn't even like to smile, whack.
Just not someone that you can start with confidence in the playoffs anymore.
No, it's not. This is really interesting because I'm not sure who else you can start, Jonnu Smith or Mike Gesicki?
Mike Gesicki. And another one that came to mind is Dalton Schultz. I would much rather start a Dalton Schultz than a Jonnu Smith because I know that I'll get at least 8 points, whereas Jonnu Smith could easily drop an egg. I mean, what you want to see is volume and targets, and he only got 2 targets the game before, 0 the last game, and obviously he didn't play this week, so it's just not someone that you can bet your fantasy playoffs on at all.
Yeah, I'm with you.
All right, so the Jaguars side of the ball, this is going to be a lot to take in, guys, okay? You can start James Robinson. He is a must start.
Yep.
James Robinson has been so good in his rookie year. Potentially the best rookie running back. Obviously, he is the best rookie running back. As much as I love Antonio Gibson, from a fantasy output perspective, he has been the best running back this year. Continue to bet on him. Start him in the playoffs. But let's look at the rest of the Jaguars, okay? Okay. I don't think you can start anyone else in case you didn't get the memo.
Yeah, there's no one else here to start. James Robinson has been playing lights out, amazing. If there was a fantasy rookie award, rookie of the year award, it would go to James Robinson, I think.
Yeah, definitely.
I mean, he's playing amazing. He is the most consistent rookie out there right now.
Mm-hmm. I get it.
6-6 Vikings at the 7-5 Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
Whew.
I mean, like Zach said, if the Bucs lose here, they could be the same, and the Patriots win, they could have the same record, and that would be crazy because the Bucs were on a really good start, a decent start.
Gosh. Yeah.
And then the Patriots were terrible, and it was like, wow, they're missing Tom.
How the turntables.
Bill Belichick is he's giving you the one of, I don't know how to do it. Like he's like. He's doing this. It's
mental if you can see us on YouTube. Yeah.
Viking side of the ball, come on. Dalvin Cook, Adam Thielen, JJ. Point blank period. That's who you're starting. There's no questions about it. There's no one else on this team that you can start with confidence. You're not starting Irv Smith or Kyle Rudolph. You're not starting Kirk Cousins in this scenario. There's no one here that you're starting besides those three, the three-headed monster. Dalvin Cook, Adam Thielen, and Justin Jefferson. That's it. You start him, you forget. Am I right?
Yeah.
Anyone else?
Yeah.
I don't want to miss out on anyone. This is really important for people.
No one else. But you should start all three of those guys with absolute confidence. Don't question it.
Yeah, absolutely. On the Bucs side of the ball, this gets a little bit more interesting, I think. Mike Evans, you're starting with confidence. I'm starting, if I had Tom Brady this week with confidence, I think he's a good matchup. Gronk, you're starting. Ronald Jones, you're starting. And Chris Godwin, you're starting. This is the whole team that you're starting with confidence, the whole team that you have to start because these guys are going to give you the points. And I think a lot of the question that everyone's asking is, can I start Antonio Brown? Is Antonio Brown startable? Is he going to do something amazing?
I don't know. I mean, I know for sure is I'm not going to bet on him in my playoffs to do something amazing. Could he? Yeah. But you aren't going to find me betting on him in my starting lineup this week. No.
Yeah, a lot of people were really hyped about him. You know, like
of course
he had two decent games. Then, you know,
at this point, I think there's too many cooks in the kitchen, and I think that if the Bucs are smart, Antonio Brown should be a decoy from here on out, and you should utilize Mike Evans and Godwin more, and obviously Gronk as well.
Right. Okay. Say no more.
All right, the next matchup is the 11-1 Chiefs at the 8-4 Dolphins. That is so strange to see. The 8-4 Dolphins.
Yeah.
That is just strange.
Shout out to them. They playing.
Yeah. We actually have a lot of people listen to the pod who are Dolphin fans. So I just want to say, technically, I was right about the fantasy aspect of Tua being the starter. Right?
They don't like
you
to hear
guys
that.
got the win. Tua started, and he played a pretty good game. But technically, from a fantasy perspective, this team is worse for fantasy only when Tua plays than when Ryan Fitzpatrick plays. But the only exception there is probably Mike Gesicki. Okay?
Yeah.
Mike Gesicki is a guy that you can start with confidence. And just keeping in mind that you can't start anyone with confidence at the tight end position when I say that, okay? Except for Travis Kelce, Darren Waller. So Mike Gesicki is a guy I'm happy to start this week if I need a tight end. The other guy I'm happy to start is Myles Gaskin. Probably the only guy I'm 100% confident in starting other than Mike Gesicki. Kansas City is pretty bad against the run. That's probably their one weakness. Melvin Gordon last week, 15 attempts, 131 yards. If he put a touchdown on top of that, he would have had a great week. I think the Dolphins probably know the one way to potentially beat this team is to have a good running game.
Yeah.
And I think that the upside with Gaskin as well is he's been pretty involved in the passing game as well. So I think he's got a pretty safe floor to start against the Chiefs this week. Do you agree?
Yeah, I think so. I think he's a good start. I think a lot of people are going to be in scenarios, and I think we should talk about this. Like, I think of people being scenarios of like a Myles Gaskin or a Monty.
Yeah.
I feel like that's a pretty hard scenario. Or a Myles Gaskin or a Miles Sanders. Obviously, you start Miles Sanders, but Sanders has been struggling. Obviously, Myles Gaskin has been hurt.
I actually, I'm glad we're talking about it because I don't know that I'm starting Miles Sanders over Myles Gaskin.
That's what
Genuinely.
I'm saying. That's
because
really hard.
This is the whole thing we've been talking about. Like when you go into the playoffs, it's no more off of what you think is going to happen. It's
Right.
what do we know has happened, because that's what I have to bet my money on now.
Okay. Let me
We know Myles Gaskin is the guy getting the volume here now.
Right. Let me throw one more scenario. Myles Gaskin or DeAndre Swift if he plays and if he's back to who he was.
Yeah, that's another good point because Adrian Peterson's been playing well. So will they give Swift the full role again? We don't know. We don't know the answer to that question.
They play like I think of people in that scenario, and I think you had to go based on matchup. Like for example, I will start DeAndre Swift there just purely because they're playing the Packers, and the Packers give it the most points to running backs.
Okay.
It's all about matchups and opportunity. It's hard. A lot of people are going to be in hard positions, and if you listen,
I get it. I just think you can't fully focus all the energy on matchup now.
Yeah,
because
that's the thing.
The reality is with DeAndre Swift, if we knew 100% he is the guy again, he's going to get all the touches after that concussion, they're not worried about any re-injury or re-aggravation of the concussion, then yeah, start him over Myles Gaskin. But you don't know. You don't know if that's going to happen. What do you know about Myles Gaskin? He is the guy in the backfield.
Yeah.
He will be getting the touches. And for me, I'm not sold on starting Swift over Gaskin.
Okay. Interesting. These are all questions. I mean,
Yeah.
we're going to do a live, obviously, on Saturday. Yeah. And if you're listening to this, like, please give us your scenarios. Like, we would love to break it down for you.
For sure. I think, obviously, the Chiefs side of the ball, we can go by pretty quickly. You're starting everyone, okay? Or let's tell you who you're not starting. Anyone not named Travis Kelce, Patrick Mahomes, Tyreek Hill, you're maybe not starting. So there is a scenario we need to talk about with this running back room.
Right.
Okay. And I just want to put ease in anyone's minds who has Clyde Edwards-Helaire. If he plays, don't question it. You got to start him. At least as a flex.
Say no more. I agree. You have to start him. He has to be a flex position if you have somebody else. This is
and
really interesting.
The only other thing I want to quickly talk about on this matchup is I'm not starting Devontae Parker with any confidence either.
Okay, yeah. I agree. I agree with everything you said. Clyde, man, just had to be iffy in something right now. Like, it's so hard if you're a Clyde owner.
It's not a good time to have that situation happen. And by the way, what an unfortunate situation. There are people who would have started Clyde Edwards-Helaire and they needed him, and they probably missed the playoffs
because of that.
Because they were told he would have played and he didn't play.
Yeah.
You know what?
It is what it is.
It is what it is.
Yeah. It's rough, but I don't know, man. That's really unlucky if you did that. And I'm sorry that happened, but oh well. 4-8 Broncos at the 4-8 Panthers. Look, let's just be quick about this one. There's no one on the Broncos side of the ball that I'm starting besides Noah Fant. Even him, I'm not happy in starting because he's been very inconsistent. He's been injury prone all year. It's really hard to start him, but essentially he is the only must start on this team. If you have other tight end options, maybe you can consider. I guess this is a good question. Noah Fant or Mike Gesicki.
Mike Gesicki.
And yeah, I can't think of
Purely
anyone
because
else.
the Chiefs are going to put up points. They will need to be in passing scenarios.
Noah Fant or Jonnu Smith.
Noah Fant.
Okay.
Because I know Noah Fant's going to get at least 5 points. Yeah. I don't know if Jonnu Smith's going to get a target.
Yeah, and you're right. And bro, crazy. Noah Fant is the only guy I would consider starting. Once again, I'm personally not confident in starting him. I will be looking at different options. Noah Fant or Logan Thomas.
Yeah, it's a really good question.
And I know Logan Thomas is on a lot of waiver wires. He's surely available in a lot of leagues still, and he could be a good option to pick up maybe for this week. Who do you guys play this week? Who they play?
We play the 49ers, and I do think that last game was a lot matchup based because they were putting a lot of focus on Terry McLaurin. Mm-hmm. So I would still lean Fant, as crazy as that sounds.
Okay. Good to know. Good to know. Panther side of the ball, obviously CMC. CMC's back. You're starting him, no question. I mean, you're buzzing if you are in the playoffs, and he just came back at the right time. He's playing a really good team. He has a good opportunity to do something amazing here. And I think the only other people you can start here are the 3 wide receivers: DJ Moore, Curtis Samuel, Robbie Anderson. Obviously, DJ Moore and Curtis Samuel are on the COVID reserve list right now, currently. If they test negative for the next 5 days straight, they will play on Sunday. Mm-hmm. And obviously, we'll keep you updated on that all on our social media, Twitter, Instagram. But Robbie Anderson, I think, is the most consistent player in his position on this team. He only had 2 games this whole season with less than 10 points. I think he's a great flex option. I think if all 3 of these guys, if I had all 3 of these guys on my team, I think I'm personally picking Robbie because I just need at least 10 points.
Yeah,
this is
so strange to me. Just go ahead. I'll listen.
So the way I see it is that if you had all these 3 guys on your team, okay, you know that DJ Moore can find the end zone. You know that Curtis Samuel can find the end zone. But you also know that their floor is an absolute bottom as well.
Yeah.
But Robbie Anderson, he has been finding the end zone, but he's been getting targets. You know, he's probably been averaging 7 to 8 targets per game.
Yeah.
Not many points. Once again, he can probably get you 10 to 12 points, where DJ Moore and Curtis Samuel can get you 15 if they get into the end zone.
Yeah.
You know?
I get it. I think it's funny because this wide receiver core has been super inconsistent as far as who do you start.
Right.
So it's funny because Robbie's been the least inconsistent of the inconsistencies in this inconsistent wide receiver core.
Exactly. And you kind of have to go with that, right? We're talking about consistency. Consistency is key with us, and volume, and who's getting the work. And you know, you're going into the playoffs. You can't take any chances unless you are somebody that you just know something. Yeah. And
don't take a chance. Don't be that guy.
Yeah. The way I see it is that I don't want to tell you to say, take a chance. We're in the playoffs. No, I don't want to tell you that. I want to tell you these are consistent players, and these are players that I'm starting because I can guarantee myself 10 points because my other key players are going to get me the points that I need.
Yeah. All right. The 4-8 Texans at the 5-7 Bears. This one's actually relatively easy to talk about. You're starting Deshaun Watson, okay? Don't think about it. Don't question it. Even though his options have been so limited this year, he's still the quarterback 6. The reality is, on any given Sunday, he could have 40 points.
Yeah.
You have to start Deshaun Watson. Now, can you start David Johnson or any wide receiver on this team? I mean, Kiki QT was the guy last week, but we don't really want to trust in that this week, especially not in the playoffs.
No.
So I'm going to break it down for you. Can you start any wide receiver? No, not with any confidence. But can you start David Johnson? Again, if you start David Johnson, don't expect more than 10 points.
Okay.
Is he just a glue guy to be like, yeah, let me throw him in there. I know he'll at least get me 10 points because of his volume. If you're in that scenario, yes. But do not expect a 20-plus point game from a David Johnson. Just do not expect that. There have been talks about David Johnson's role expanding. I don't know if that's going to be the case, but that's how I see it. Is that fair?
Yeah, that's fair. I think
I would much rather start a Myles Gaskin, a Wayne Gallman, a Miles Sanders. Who else? Even Raheem Mostert after last week, I know. I would much rather start those guys over David Johnson this week.
Yeah, there's a lot of people I will start over David Johnson. I think the way I see it is that I look at the game before and I see what AP did, and I see, but he had good scenarios. You know, he was on the 1 yard line.
Yeah,
and I'm not sure if this team can do that and can.
Yeah, totally. Because that's not who the Texans are.
Yeah.
If you watch the Texans and you've owned David Johnson, it's the most frustrating thing ever.
Right.
Because you'll be on inside the 3 yard line, and less than 20% of the time they're giving David Johnson a chance to run the ball.
Absolutely.
It's like, Deshaun Watson, do your thing. So, yeah, not someone you can start with confidence unless you are okay getting at least 10 points. The Bears side of the ball, there's 2 guys and there's 2 guys only. You're starting them and you're not thinking about it. David Montgomery, back-to-back baller games.
Let's go.
And Allen Robinson with the promised targets. So those are the 2 guys you're starting. Set them and forget about it. And no one else to talk about. No one else you're starting. Don't even think about it.
Yep, I agree. 6-6 Cardinals at MetLife Stadium with the New York Football Giants at 5-7, leading the NFC East. Wow, I mean,
wait. Tying the Washington Football team.
Yeah,
okay,
tying.
okay.
We got the tiebreaker.
Oh, okay.
Anyways,
well, all I'm saying is we have the easier schedule rest of the season. I looked at your schedule.
Yeah, Cardinals, Ravens, Browns. Technically, it's Cardinals. We play the Browns next week, and then we play the Ravens, and then we play the Cowboys. Yeah. I think the biggest game is going to be the Cowboys. If we lose all 3, and then we beat the Cowboys, we need you guys to lose.
Yeah, and we've got a hard schedule, but not as hard as you guys. So it'll be interesting to see. I mean, technically, our last 2 games are very winnable games, whereas these next 2 are kind of hard against the 49ers and Seahawks.
Yeah.
Panthers, Eagles to finish the year. So you couldn't ask for a better end of year schedule. So anyway.
Yeah. Look, Cardinals side of the ball, D-Hop, Murray, Drake.
Yep.
I'm starting these guys with confidence. Look, and it's not, obviously this is home bias, and this is me talking about my team. D-Hop didn't have his best game last week.
Yeah, and still put up 19 points
exactly.
in fantasy.
So, like, I wonder what can happen here. Who did he play last week again?
You know what's crazy is they played the Rams last week. Jalen Ramsey was shadowing him the entire game.
Exactly.
And their offense looked terrible the first half, and they didn't get DeAndre Hopkins involved at all. And I think DeAndre had 0 points at the half, if I'm not mistaken. And then, guess what? They started using and targeting one of the best wide receivers in the game, and their offense started to look better. It's just like, guys, this isn't very hard. You got cute. Now you're 6-6. Don't forget that you have one of the best wide receivers on the team. You need to use him or you will not win games.
Yeah, you're right. And it's going to be interesting seeing. I think D-Hop can stay in that range, you know?
Yeah.
I look at the James Bradbury and who he's been shadowing. He had DK Metcalf last week, and DK only had 10 points. And I thought that was pretty good for someone like James Bradbury, and he hasn't been giving up that many points. And I feel like he can do the same thing to D-Hop. Obviously, he had a lot of help with Jabril, but I feel like D-Hop can be in that range. So I'm a bit iffy. Once again, this is home bias, but I still think D-Hop could have a good game. Kyler Murray,
start him.
Will have a decent game. And Kenyon Drake, I think Kenyon Drake is a must start in this scenario. He's clearly the number 1 back. This is the guy that you were hoping for all year. And it's just now coming, unfortunately.
It's not exciting, though.
No.
But you're right. Must start.
Giants side of the ball, there's only 2 people, Wayne Gallman and Evan Ingram.
Mm-hmm.
Really? Wayne the Train Gallman? He's been running.
Wayne the Train Gallman.
he's been doing this thing, and he's really talented, and I love him. I love him because he's on our team. And imagine freaking Devontae Freeman. My goodness, give it away.
What about him? Yeah, right. So
Evan
you were
Ingram,
saying, like, why did they sign Devontae Freeman?
yeah. Evan
Makes
Ingram is a must start as well. He didn't have an amazing game last week, but I think, if Daniel Jones is back and he's healthy, Evan Ingram will get back to, the points that
He's obviously Daniel Jones's favorite target.
Say that again?
He's obviously Daniel Jones's favorite target.
Yeah,
Evan Ingram
I think
is.
so as well. And get A-Rob coming to the team next year, boys. Hopefully.
Nah, A-Rob's coming to the Capitol. So don't even stress about that. It's already locked in. I've called Mr. Ron Rivera, Riverboat Ron. And we got it all figured out. Don't stress.
It's all figured out. We'll see what happens.
Yeah. We're going to trade up and get Justin Fields in the draft. Then in the free agency, we're going to sign Allen Robinson. Don't stress, bro. We're good.
Well, let me ask you this. I know this is off topic, but like, if you actually win, currently right now you've won. Okay, I think you are probably fifth pick in the draft, maybe.
No, because of that win, we're way higher in the draft now.
So you essentially, unless you lose out now, and the people that are ahead of you currently start to win,
we're now the 11th pick in the draft.
Yeah, Justin Fields is out the question. Who is the quarterback? This is a whole.
Yeah, well,
this is a
couple
whole
guys.
podcast. Like, we can have a whole nother podcast about this conversation. But
yeah, we will in the offseason too. Trey Lance is a guy that a lot of people are talking about.
he can still fall to 11.
I think so. Yeah.
Okay.
I think so, because you look at some of the guys above, and you're not sure that they're really going to draft a quarterback. So, Chargers aren't. Cincinnati's not going to. I don't think Dallas will. I could be wrong, though. I feel like Carolina wants to see what they can really do with a healthy team and Teddy. Houston's not going to. Miami's not going to. Atlanta might, but I don't know. So, anyway, that's very off topic, but you're right. It's kind of like, damn, if we don't make the playoffs, I'm pissed.
Yeah.
Because this has really all been for nothing. But anyway, all right, the last matchup on today's podcast is the 3-8 Cowboys at the 2-9-1 Cincinnati Bengals. Yeah, man, it's been hard if you're a Bengals fan ever since Joey B got that injury, and I'm sorry, it's not really much that you can say.
The GG's, boys. Thanks for playing.
Let's talk about the Cowboys. You're starting Zeke in this game, okay? Because I think the Cowboys are obviously not going to be blown out, which means he will get a lot of volume. He will get a lot of touches. Start Zeke. Don't think about it. And then Amari Cooper, I think you can start as well. I think he's the only wide receiver that is safe on this team.
Yeah.
How about CeeDee Lamb, though? Can you start CeeDee Lamb?
I think you can. I think you can in this scenario.
Okay.
I think of all the other players that we've been talking about, and are you starting CeeDee Lamb over any of the Carolina Panthers?
No.
Are you starting?
I don't think so.
CeeDee Lamb over Corey Davis?
No, I don't think I am.
That's the only people I can think about.
Hopefully,
CeeDee Lamb
that
over...
helps you make a decision then.
Yeah.
I think he's a desperation flex at best, and depending on your options, you might have to start him. But Dalton Schultz is another guy I want to quickly talk about. He's a decent tight end to start in this matchup, don't you think?
Yeah, I think so. I think I like Dalton Schultz. Andy Dalton likes Dalton Schultz. So I see their connection growing, and I see his production growing in the next couple of weeks or in the last couple of weeks of the season.
Yeah. And hopefully there's been no major injuries, because we're actually recording this right before the game for the Ravens game.
Yeah.
So hopefully there's no major injuries that we're not aware of, but that could always happen. Bengals side of the ball. Can you start anyone on this team?
It's so hard. I mean, Joe Burrow was the glue. He was the guy. He was the foundation. He is what made everyone fantasy relevant.
Mm-hmm.
And no, you can't.
Oh.
Tyler Boyd, T. Higgins over CeeDee Lamb?
See, that's a question I was going to say is like Tyler Boyd, I would probably start over CeeDee Lamb because I think he is just that slot guy that most quarterbacks are going to look to.
Okay.
I'm not happy about starting him, though, and I don't know that I want to bet my fantasy outcome on any Bengal in Week 14.
What about the Panthers? Tyler over the Panthers receivers.
No, I would start every Panther over all three of those Panther wide receivers. I would start over Tyler Boyd personally.
Okay. All right. I mean, that's all I can think of.
What about you? I mean, you might see it differently. I don't know.
I don't know. I think we talked about this before we recorded, but he was on pace for a really good game until he got ejected.
Yeah.
So, I mean, maybe he has gained some sort of bond, or I don't know what the word I'm trying to use, but
chemistry,
rapport with Kyle
chemistry?
Allen. Say that again.
Is chemistry not the word you're looking for?
Chemistry. Build some. I couldn't find it. I couldn't think of it.
I was like trying to say it to you a couple times.
Today, Junior.
But yeah, it's interesting. I think I would still start Tyler Boyd purely because of the matchup. The Cowboys give a lot of points to wide receivers, and I think it could be an opportunity with him to find the end zone.
For sure. Okay, guys. Well, that is all the matchups we are going to cover on today's show. Don't miss our next episode, our next show tomorrow, where we're going to cover part 2, all the rest of the matchups that we didn't cover today for Week 14 for the fantasy playoffs. And by the way, there's definitely going to be some scenarios that you want answers to. Who do I start? So what we do is every Saturday, we go live on our YouTube page, FantasyLand Football. You can find it in the bio, the link in our bio of all of our social media platforms, our YouTube page. We go live on every Saturday to answer all your start-sit questions. Badaki and I, we look at every question. We've answered every single question. We probably answered over 1,000 questions this year, and we only started a couple weeks ago. And it's just a fun time. So come join us on Saturday, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 5 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. We'd be more than happy to answer any of your questions and hopefully help you win that fantasy football championship. Anything you want to say maybe to end the show, Badaki?
No. Appreciate you. Shout out to Patreon. Patreon.com/FantasyLand Fam is a great way to support the show. And then we also have Fantasyland Gaming at Fantasyland Gaming on Instagram and on Twitter, Fantasyland_GGs if you love gaming. And if you love things, video games, come check out those platforms. We even have a twitch.tv, Fantasyland Gaming. Follow us there. You know, we're trying all these different platforms, but I mean, if you like gaming, support us. Yeah, let's come hang out. All right, guys. Hopefully you have a great Wednesday night. All your dreams come true, and you're in the playoffs. Who do you have for tonight? That's the best scenario. For the game, I am taking the Ravens. Yeah. And I don't think it will be close. I think it's going to be a blowout. Oh, I don't think it'll be a blowout. I think it'll be close. Okay. Yeah. All right. We'll find out. Yeah. All right, guys. Have a good night. We will see you on tomorrow's show. See you there.
Hey, yeah, you, the one listening to this podcast, you made a good decision today. Keep making those good decisions. You know what? Go ahead and do a little dance right now, like no one's watching. 'Cause you deserve it.